Oh, hi there, it's Claire. Welcome to Well. We have a very special guest for you today. When it comes to TV doctors, not many have made an entrance, quite like Dr. Addison Montgomery.
And you must be the woman who's been screwing my husband.
Played by the incredible Kate Walsh, Dr. Montgomery has graced our screens as a member of the Grey's Anatomy cast for more than a decade.
Hello, Dr. Gray.
But while she was saving the tiniest of patients as a neonatal surgeon on the show,
If I hadn't been here today, if you'd had someone else, that girl would have died delivering her baby.
she needed a neurosurgeon of her own after being diagnosed with a brain tumour in 2015. We caught up with Kate at the launch of season 2 of Well in Sydney, where she talked us through that very scary time in her life, as well as her early menopause diagnosis and how she's dealing with ageing and keeping on top of her health. Just quietly, she was also glamorous as hell. Just before we get started today, I wanted to let you know that we're about to listen to Kate Walsh's personal medical journey. This is not advice for your particular set of circumstances. So, if anything you hear today sounds like something you're dealing with, make sure you speak to your own doctors about it first. Brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. Here she is. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Take a seat. Oh my gosh, you're so glamorous. So I'm going to attempt to be like super professional today. So we'll get into our conversation.
I'll attempt to be super professional too.
First of all, I think we want to let people know that you're basically an Australian now.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've been here for it'll be 6 years in March. So
6 years. And how are you finding WA? We sometimes over here on the East Coast, we forget that the West Coast is like still its own little ecosystem happening over there. How's it been?
I know. I've got friends that have never been over there. They're like from Melbourne. So they're like, oh, I've never been there. It's great. It's beautiful. It's stunningly beautiful. We live on the beach. We're very fortunate. And I love it. I go back and forth between basically the Northern Hemisphere and Perth. And then here sometimes. So, yeah.
You're back on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. I did
Which is so exciting.
Did a little spot. Yeah.
Addison Montgomery is coming back to Gray Sloan Memorial Hospital, and I'm so excited to be home again, joining Shonda, Ellen, and the rest of the incredible cast.
I'm going to try and get all my Grey's questions out early so we can actually talk about what we're here today. But what's it like to be welcomed back into that? I imagine it's basically family for you guys, because a lot of people who are working on that show in the beginning are still working on that show. And is it like being embraced back with family?
Yeah, it's very comfortable, very cozy. I just kind of slip right back into a pair of scrubs, and it's like there's a certain part of my brain that's just reserved for Grays and private practice, medical, and then, it's great. And literally, there are crew members that were there from the very, very beginning that have had their children and put their kids through college, and so that's very special. And then, of course, half the cast, or most of them, are directing episodes now. Kevin McKidd and Kim Raver and Chandra Wilson, and so that's really fun too. It's also changed a lot in that I guess the first time I went back was maybe 2018 or 2019, and half the crew are women now, which is really, really cool. That was not a thing when we first started. So to see the diversity and inclusiveness has been really special. So yeah.
I need you to speak to the writers' room and tell them that the episode where they nearly killed Bailey nearly killed me, and so I need them to stop doing that. But also,
I know, they always either kill or nearly kill.
Nearly
people.
kill.
Like,
I think nearly kill is almost sometimes worse, because I'm crying and then there's there's no grief process afterwards because they're still there. The question I was asked quite a bit when I was telling people that you were joining us today is, would a neonatal surgeon really wear shoes that tall to work?
Yes, this is the thing. When I first moved to LA from New York, I had this doctor in Santa Monica, and this sounds so, I was like so gender biased or sexist. She had like 6-inch heels, and my OB in New York still, she's like the real life Addison. I'm like, where did you come? How do you even work? I mean, Dr. Pointer, who's now like left private practice, but she had like bodycon dresses, fully done, makeup, like bangles. I'm like, that's a lot of bangles for like me in the stirrups.
For someone who's in that general
also,
area.
like heels. I'm like, what? Who are you? I did that as a fake job. Like, but for real? Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, we obviously know it's a fake job, but do people ask you sometimes, like out in the wild, expecting you have answers to medical questions?
Yeah, just the cockies out west. No, no one really asked me for this. No, I don't think. I think I could, in a pinch, probably deliver a baby, on a plane or something, and like.
Oh my God! If they say, "Is there a doctor on board?" Do people look? But I think today many people might not realise that you have had your own, I mean, we all have our own medical journeys, but you in particular were talking, back in 2015 you were diagnosed with a brain tumour. And I wanted to understand what that's like. For starters, when did symptoms start for you? Because when I was reading through the things you'd experienced, they sound a little bit like perimenopause.
Yeah,
that's
exactly right. Well, I had gone through, started early menopause when I was 39, actually on Grays, unfortunately, just as I was going over to private practice. And my older sister called. She's like, "You should get your, FSH checked." And I'm like, "Don't scare me. Try it. Leave me alone." And then, of course, lo and behold, I was going through early menopause. So I'd sort of started that journey at 39, but then. Which was devastating in its own way, because you're like, oh, that's done. Okay. But then, yes, the symptoms came, it was difficult because at first I thought I was just tired. I did a show after private practice and all other stuff. I did this show called Bad Judge, and I was producing it, executive producing it, and starring in it, and in the editing room, and doing these intense workouts and all this stuff. And so I thought I was just wiped out and tired. And then I was in Pilates, and my Pilates instructor, it was like, "Oh, your right side's dipping." I'm like, no, I'm level. He's like, no, it's totally dipped. Look at the mirror. And I'm like, oh. And then so it started off as this weird, subtle weakness. And then I thought, oh, it's because I was working out too hard. And then again, it was like, oh, maybe this is a new layer of menopause. It's back and better than ever. I'm just like
it always
wiped
likes to
out
outdo itself at every level. Right?
Yeah, just like, spacey. I couldn't. It was like beyond aphasia, though. I was just like, I can't find the words. And so I went to this menopause specialist, and all the markers were the same. And that. Nothing was like the hormone replacement. I started hormone replacement there. That wasn't helping. And then I just knew something was wrong. I was like, I'm just not right. I can't. And it became more and more pronounced, like the right side of my body, like I was hard. But then you make up, so you're like, oh, I'm walking my dog, but it's kind of a hilly, I'm on a trail. I'm a little wobbly. It's the trail. But then I couldn't drive. I was like veering to the right side. And that was because in the end, they found out it was in my left hemisphere. And so it was the swelling. It was like a parabola, it was like massive. And so it was impinging on my right side and all the motor skills there. But all the things were like, I have attention deficit disorder. I'm reading Murakami. It's very dense. That's why I can't. On the phone too much, whatever. So yeah, but then I was like, I need to have a, MRI.
And was it hard to get an MRI? Like, do you have to convince someone to do that for you?
Yeah, I can't name names, but it was a very reputable neurologist at Cedars-Sinai that I was referred to. Because I was just like, I got to go to the emergency room. Like, I just don't feel right, And but then that would have been public, and it was like, I don't know, okay, so we'll go see this doctor. And he very kindly was like, oh, you're an actress in your 40s, and you're out of work, and you're going through menopause, and you need some antidepressants.
Oh, God, can we go punch him, please?
And I was like, respectfully, I have a shrink who can prescribe, and I just want to get an MRI. Why? What do you think's wrong with you? It was literally verbatim, like, what do you think's wrong with you, Now, to be fair, I'm sure there's a lot of people who think they come in and they think they've got brain tumors. Or I just was never that. For someone who played a doctor on TV for almost a decade, I never really went to doctor. You know what I mean? I just was like, I don't know, other than my regular, OB stuff. So, but yeah, so I had to really push. He's like, what do you think you're going to find? I go, I don't know. I just want to have a look. And it was as if I was asking him to build the MRI machine. And of course, I think it was like an insurance thing. Who knows? But I pushed, and I didn't even rush it. But by the time I went in, the day before, my partner at the time, he tossed me a volleyball in the pool and I fractured my right pinky. So I was going in for like an x-ray for my pinky and MRI. I was broken. It was like, I couldn't balance. It was bad. And then, they found pretty sizable tumor, benign, thank God, in the end, but they didn't know at the time. It was a meningioma, and it was 5 centimeters, I guess. So it was like a little egg in my head, and my brainstem was literally like that. They showed me in white swelling, and I just started getting these shooting pains, but I was very fortunate that I didn't have any seizures, and that I was able to get surgery and get it out. And
how long between you knowing that there's a brain tumor and it being cut out?
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
What's that 3 days like for you, sitting there knowing that that's there?
I was so out of it. My friends teased me. First of all, I got a blowout. I was like,
I mean, why not?
Because they have to put the nodes on your head to place for when they do surgery. So I was like, and then I was just kind of really out of it, in this almost altered state, really spacey, and talking to strangers, I love your shoes, I like that bag, And I was honestly so relieved that I knew what it was, because I think the biggest fear is we don't know, you just don't feel great, So I had been suffering, and it was a very slow and then rapid descent. It was very subtle, and then it was just it's bad. And then when you have people looking at you friends, what's wrong with you? That's a terrible feeling, feeling crazy. And so I was actually just relieved. And it didn't really occur to me even that they'd take until I was like, oh wait, hold on, time out. You gotta take my skull off? I was just thinking, they're yeah, it's like a cushion cut, I'm I'm familiar. It's one of my favorite cuts. They're that. It's there's a little bread plate they took off and then put it back on. But that hadn't occurred to me. I was I thought they just, make it. I was oh, wait, the skull. I forgot about that part. So, yeah, but it was amazing. I had one of the best surgeons in the world, literally. And I'm very, very fortunate. And also that they could get all of it and that it was benign. And as soon as I came out of anesthesia, I was I'm myself again. Literally, I'm oh, I'm back. So that was great. And then the recovery was gnarly.
Well, talk us through that, because, brain surgery that's a significant chopping and changing around of your, physical anatomy, but also internally in your brain too. It's great to hear that you woke up and were back to yourself, which is incredible. What's the recovery process like from that moment?
It makes me sad thinking about it. But so grateful. It's mentally, I was there. I was all clear, so that was great. I could speak. I had no problem with motor skills, and they want to get you up and walk and make sure that you can move around and everything works. But then it was just they liken it to a computer rebooting. You just, and things would have, my eyes would just shut. It's it's shutting down. You just go to sleep. I used to say it's my eyelids were awnings. They would just close. You're and I'm done. Yeah. So, but I was on steroids and then anti-seizure medication for about 2 months after that. But that was, and people were oh, it's going to be really rough. It's a doggy downer. You're going to feel oh, heavy. Nothing felt as bad as having that tumor in my head. So I wasn't and the steroids, I was euphoric too. I was I thought I was enlightened. I was wow, I'm woo, everything's great. They're oh, that's the steroids. But it was just physically, it's the brain rebooting and talking to the body. So even though I could walk, it still wasn't, things weren't connecting yet, right? So it was all wobbly and and weird that in one surgery after anesthesia, as I'm sure people have had surgeries, the muscles just atrophy. It was it's I hadn't walked in years. I had no muscles, and I was a little egg, and and I was so swollen. I looked like I had some serious plastic surgery. I was taking pictures. I remember I looked at one point like Mickey Rourke, now, not from 9.5 weeks. I was whoa. And so kind of, but I was just really fortunate. I was surrounded by my friends and family, and had a very beautiful recovery. And I remember people saying to me, oh, don't rush it. Don't rush to get back to the gym or whatever. And I was like, don't worry. Like that, I was so surrendered to the recovery process. So I did everything the doctors told me. I also, what was really helpful was I found what I call my brain buddy, which I've done this in lots of different circumstances in life, medically and otherwise. When I get scared or I find someone who's gone through it, who's ahead of me, and I talk to them so that I know what to expect. Because the surgeons are surgeons, and they were the best in the world, but they have more surgeries to do. They don't have, and I think at least in the States, there's not a lot of, but I think in women's health anyway, there's not a lot of outpatient support. So that was very helpful to hear, hey, in about 3 months, your skull will sink. I'm like, huh? Or at 2 months after anesthesia, your hair is going to start falling out. So don't freak out when that happens, do you know? So that was good to know, because if I was just showering and all of a sudden I felt this divot in my skull, that would have fully freaked me out, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was that support. But even when I went through early menopause, and because I would just leave my body, I'd dissociate when I went to a doctor's office because it's so overwhelming. So I'd bring a friend, you know, and she'd bring her Yorkie, and we'd just sit there, and I'm like, you take notes, and I'll just nod, and support.
For you, though, there's also that added layer of living a life that's in the spotlight. Mm. How do you navigate going through a physical health crisis like that? How does your mental health handle that when, you know, potentially someone might snap a photo of you, or it might, you know, you might end up being a story somewhere? Like, how do you balance your mental health through that process too?
Well, it's that's a great question. It was, first of all, I didn't have a brain tumor. Janet Nassau did. That was my pseudonym. Right. So it might be the name of my book someday. Janet Nassau had a brain tumor. We kept it really quiet. I wanted to have my own recovery and experience. And also there was a stigma. If somebody has, you know, if they find out, you know, you're sick or you've had, you know, a health challenge, then you might not get work or whatever. So I waited and was able to keep it really quiet. But again, this was even like, you know, this was in 2015. So it wasn't as, everything's much more, even more public now than, you know, in social media and everything. It just wasn't that at the level that it is now. So, and I chose to, because I had some people that didn't know, that were like, Cohen, do you want to talk about this? And I'm like, no, I want to wait until, I guess I recovered pretty quickly, but I traveled, but I took almost a year off before I went back to work. And I wanted to go back to work and show people that, you know, I was all right, my memory was fine, and, you know, I could handle it. So, and then I went and talked about it. Then I went public, you know.
What was that like, speaking about it for the first time and letting people in on your story?
I should say I don't remember. That doesn't sound good, does it?
Are you sure your memory's as good
I
as
always
you think?
joke. I'm like, if I skip, just, you know, knock me on the side of the head. No, I think I felt, because there were other people. There was another woman, an actress and sort of a TV personality that had had the same kind of tumor as me in a different area. And she was talking about it very openly. And she was like, why don't you want to talk? And then I eventually talked to her about it. But I felt once I had enough distance from it, I didn't feel so vulnerable about it, you know? Yeah. And honestly, I felt so relieved, because I've known so many people that have had glioblastomas or different kinds of tumors or it's in a different location. I was so lucky. This was in my front left lobe, right under the dura, which is the, you know, little protective, like, skin that covers the brain, if you will. I don't know, I'm not a doctor actually, but so it was right there on top, and they could get the whole thing. So I was very, very lucky, and so relieved. And then there were complications that I got avascular necrosis in my hips, which then I had to have hip replacements. So it was like, hey, the gift that keeps on giving. But I had a really good run. Until 48, I just had like a broken tailbone and a tonsillectomy.
Oh, I have a broken tailbone too.
Yeah.
Yay.
When did you have yours?
My baby did mine.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, well,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's something you can, you know, remind them of for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. I'll hold it against her for as long as possible. What kind of pain girly are you? I'm part of a club where I do not experience period pain and never have done, and it feels like something I'm supposed to keep very quiet because, like, so many women don't have that experience, but apparently that's supposed to be normal. But like, what kind of pain girly are you? Someone who have experienced a lot of pain over your life, or is this something that's come later in life for you?
Physical pain?
Yeah. I mean,
because I'm like the town
boyfriends.
crier. No, physical pain, I have a pretty high pain tolerance. Yeah. Probably the most, like the brain surgery, that didn't hurt at all. Like there was nothing. In the hips, I was like, oh, I probably pulled a muscle, pulled my groin, or oh, it's because I went back and did yoga and da-da-da. So, but when I broke my shoulder, that was very painful.
How did you do that?
I was at work. I was doing 13 Reasons Why, season 2. And my trailer, we were on location and it was parked at a very high, like kind of risky area and lots of blocks. And it's actually a very common injury to fall from the steps. But it usually happens to people that are crew, like costume designers who are holding like tons of wardrobe and they have to go up these little rickety steps and there's like one little arm and that's it. So my foot got caught under one of the steps and I fell, but it was like an 8-foot fall. And I literally broke it with my shoulder. But I thought, oh, it's probably just dislocated. No, it was broken, like a clean break. But that was the most,
Silver lining.
yeah, it was clean. It was like, oh, good. My bone density was actually right on, very strong.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a clean break, but that was the most painful thing I've probably ever experienced. Yeah. But I haven't given birth, so respect.
I mean, there's good drugs for that.
Yeah.
How do you feel in your own body now as you're getting older? And are you working on protecting yourself with your health and longevity, considering, the issues that you've had over time? Like, how are you preparing yourself for aging?
Well, I am aging. We all are. But I'm like, whoa. It's so weird how it changes. It's like, first of all, I'm massively grateful to have my health. And to have recovered from all this sort of spate of things that it sort of transpired in a few years. But it's hard, like weird things happen. Like at 52, I looked one way. And then at 54, all of a sudden I got the middle spread. And you're like, wait a minute. And I went up a couple, I was like, now I have to change everything again. It's like, okay, how much do you accept and how much do you? And I think it's gotten oddly to be more pressured, I think, now. And I'm not, as I'm older, it feels like maybe it's because social media and everything's so about image, So I think that, I think it's hard. But I work at it, I take really good care of and I'm also an eater. I like to eat. I would say I'm like a human mullet. Like I'm like business in the front, party in the back. Like I really like to eat well. And then I also like my wine. I like potato chips. I like so that means I have to work out. And then that means I have to accept that, I'm gonna have a little tummy some of the time and go, yeah, I love you. You're healthy. Thank you. And I'm also on hormone replacement therapy. But again, I went through early menopause at 39.
Were you expecting that? Like, did your mom go through it early?
No, we don't know. She had 5 kids. She was, Italian Catholic, had us all by the time I was the last one at 34. And then she had a hysterectomy a couple of years later, so we don't know. But my older sister did, and then I did. And I didn't at that time. Yeah, that was almost 20 years ago.
So how's your experience been then on your menopausal journey? Like, do you feel like it was a rocky road and it's leveled out, or are you still in the rocky territory?
Oh my gosh. It's like I just say I'm like a weather system, I'm like the sea, different every day. Enjoy me. That's mostly for my fiance. I'm like, isn't it exciting? What's the wind doing today?
It's like having multiple girlfriends.
Exactly. You get more for the money. No, I've always been a meditator and a very spiritual person and pray. That's my own thing. But that's gotten more I definitely meditate more. I do really exercise every day. That's not even it's just for my mental health. And sleep hygiene, that was a thing that, remember when it was in the zeitgeist a few years back, everyone was talking about, but that's critical for me. But yeah, it was weird because I was fine. And then a couple of years ago, I was doing a play in New York and I was just not feeling good. And again, you're like you said, that the markers for brain tumor is similar to menopause. It was like the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm having social anxiety. I'm feeling really tired. I'm like sweating. But the social anxiety was new. It's like, oh, the gift that keeps on giving. You're like, oh, look, now I'm like always a chatty Cathy. I'm like, much better.
How online are you? I mean, a lot of health information now is being shared via social media. Some of it not so accurate, some of it quite accurate, and sometimes we're learning things that we probably may have never known about ourselves if it weren't for social media. Are you someone who likes to absorb information like that, or do you try and avoid that kind of stuff?
Yes and no. I think we're arguably in an age of too much information. I think that it's great to be informed. I think there's a big difference between trusting your instinct and knowing, and I think women know in their bodies, and for me particularly as an actor, my body and my voice are my instruments. So I'm very in tune, which is why menopause is so challenging, because you're like, whoa, what's happening? I laugh and cry a lot. But that being said, and also when you have them, doctors and the medical, community saying, hey, honestly, we weren't educated a lot about women's health in college or in, we're like, here's a week of menopause training or whatever. So when you hear that, and I think that gives a big red flag to a lot of people, and they go online looking for stuff. But now it's just oversaturated. And for me, I also don't think, I'm speaking for myself, my system, I don't think our brains and our systems are meant to absorb that much. We're animals still. I think that, again, I'm an animal body and I need to absorb things in a more holistic way and slowly. And I can only do it a day at a time anyway. But I'm not, like, I have been the girl that's like, I better buy that, or sending it to my assistant, better look into this. It's like so many things from, weird cat and dog beds to this supplement or that, it's just too much though. For me, I get overwhelmed by it, so I just try to keep it a little simpler.
I've been given the 10-minute warning, so I have to get back to Grey's Anatomy. So, what is a storyline that Addison has had that you just love the most?
Listen, I mean, there's so many. I love the OG Grey's storylines. It was just so fun. It's hard to sort of differentiate between the storylines and just the experience, because that was a time that was so magical. We were talking about this before. It was a time before the internet, really. You had to sit around and watch one episode a week on Thursdays. The whole world was watching it. It was critically acclaimed and audience acclaimed, which is rare. And look, that show's still going. It's like baseball at this point. But it was so magical. And for all of us, we were like kids in a way, even though I was like 35. But it was like all having this experience collectively of this sudden, massive, after that Super Bowl episode. That was probably, and that event episode, it's just such great writing. I mean, that was when Shonda was, with her headphones on, like chewing crushed ice and like writing on a picnic table outside her office. It was just magical, and then we were laughing about how fun it is to win. We're talking about the Olympics are going on and everything. We're like, it's so great to win. It's like, who doesn't like winning? And you don't really think about it. Our first award season, where it's like our first time doing a red carpet. Now there are people online that know how to pose at 3 years old better than me. And I'm like, I need to take your workshop. Like, we were just like, hey, it's us. Somebody loaned us a dress. This is great. Now everyone's like a model and all that, so they all know. But we were like, oh my gosh, and we were winning everything. We're like, whoa. And I remember the next year we went back, we were like, oh, we're nominated. Oh, we didn't win. And we're like, oh, this is so fun. It's like a rubber chicken. Let's get out of here and go have martinis with, So it was, but it was a magical time. And I don't know. And then it was such a really fun thing to get the spinoff, obviously, for private practice. So maybe that episode, you know, driving a little convertible down the California coast was pretty cool. And, you know, I remember having like 500 acupuncture needles in my face for the pilot for that. It was like, yeah. And that was like another beautiful chapter for me.
What's it like being in Shondaland? I mean, it's such an amazing array of shows now, pretty much all of them critically acclaimed. Is there chances that you can spin off into other areas of Shondaland?
Well, it's funny because I just saw her at the U.S. Open in August, and randomly we're both in this suite and sat next to each other, and we hadn't seen each other in 10 years. And so we just were, and her sister Sandy, and my brother was there with, and it was just a really beautiful reunion. And we were talking about it. I'm like, come on, put me in a corset. Let's go. I want to like do something.
My God,
I want to
Bridgerton
go.
Addison would be
I know, come on, just
so
bring me,
cool.
put me in a wig. I don't know, I want to do something, period, and fun. So we talked about that a little bit. Who knows what will. But Shondaland, I should say, like, look, you know, the crew now, it's always been a when that show started, it was not just iconic for storylines. It was the first time really in TV that there was a very diverse and inclusive cast. Like, you just didn't see like a black man as chief of staff in a hospital. You would never, and she just didn't ask permission. And I should also say that, you know, we had this beautiful casting director, Linda Lowy, she's still alive. I don't know when she's not like she's gone or anything. But she cast Under the Tuscan Sun. She cast Friday Night Lights. She cast, you know, Grey's and Private Practice. And she was the one who said, you know, Bailey was written as, you know, the Nazi Bailey. I mean, that's how it was in the script. So I'm not speaking out of turn. That's how it was. I mean, that's, you know, now we'd be canceled for saying that probably. But it was written as this petite, blonde, like little, like sergeant, right? And she's the one who said, I have this woman, Chandra Wilson, that is. So I think in the end, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like Kristen Chenoweth and Chandra Wilson testing against each other. But that was Linda that said, here's an idea. So you have like, so for me, it was like fantasy. It was the best. It was like what I loved about, that's what I always wanted to live in, like a diverse community and everybody's like living and working together and, you know, sometimes delivering babies successfully, sometimes not. And, you know, lots of torrid affairs. It was fun. Addison was a great fantasy character. I was like, I never had that experience of men just queuing up. Who wants me now? Oh my gosh.
How is Meredith Grey still alive?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the woman's nearly exploded. She's nearly drowned. Like, how?
I swear, the first time I went back in 2018, we burst into tears hugging each other because I'm just like, whoa, you have stayed. She stayed. She's like, I'm here, you know? So she's amazing, yeah.
It's interesting to see now original cast members come back together and have conversations, especially with Katherine Heigl, whose exit from the show was so controversial at the time and so written about. And
yeah.
Do you feel really deeply connected to those people in a way probably we won't understand with how, you know, what a pivotal moment in your careers this was, but also you spent so much time together for so many years. Do they feel like family even if you're not seeing them regularly?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone, like I used to see, every time I went back to LA, we'd just all see each other. And TR Knight lives in New York, and so he and his husband, I would see them and still are in contact, and Katie still in contact. Like when I was in Utah, whenever I go ski, I try to see her and her husband. And so, yeah, it is, you know, and Sandra, like Sandra Oh, we both have the same acting coach, and like it's like a small little tight, it's almost like some strange sorority or fraternity where you're like, or like you're a veteran. So, but it's, yeah. It was a very seminal part of my life, clearly. So.
And we're not going to talk about him today, but we do want to extend our condolences for the loss of Eric Dane.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a massive one.
If you'd had the baby, we'd be together in New York right now. It wouldn't be raining. And even if it was, we wouldn't care because we'd be together. We'd be together.
It's been, he was very, very courageous and like such. Again, we were talking about it off camera, and I don't mind saying that. I said publicly what I wanted to say but it's such a, you just can't even imagine. It's one of the worst diseases. We call it ALS in America. What do you guys call it?
MND, yeah.
MND, yeah. So it was, it was a real tragedy. But he was so courageous, and wow, like what he did with his illness and his death, what he did was just incredible. And the gift he gave to the world of awareness and his children. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to Kate for sharing all of her stories with us today.
A huge thank you to Kate for allowing us into her world, both as Grey's Anatomy fans and just fans of her in general. She's going to be staying with us because on that very same day, we also hosted an expert panel discussion with 4 incredible women whose medical knowledge and insight around women's pain is truly one not to miss. And Kate stuck around for the chat too. That's dropping on Sunday, so make sure you check it out. Brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. Listen to Well wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, could you drop us a rating and a review? It helps us get into some more women's ears. And we want to spread this health message far and wide. Rate and review us in your favourite podcast app now.